On a calm summer afternoon, July 15, 1976, Chowchilla, a quiet farming town in California's Central Valley, was home to simplicity and sunlit routines. But beneath the golden light lay shadows that would soon consume the community in fear and disbelief. That day, the ordinary would unravel into a horror remembered for generations. At approximately 4 p.m., 55-year-old school bus driver Frank Edward "Ed" Ray, a quiet, dependable figure in Chowchilla, began the familiar journey home with 26 Dairyland elementary students aged 5 to 14 after a swim outing at the fairgrounds. Suddenly, a shadow fell across the road. A van drove into the bus's path. Ray stopped. 3 masked, armed men, nylon stockings over their faces, emerged. One held a gun to Ray, another climbed into the bus to drive, while the third followed in the van. A day meant for laughter would become a nightmare in motion. The kidnappers steered the bus to Slough, a shallow offshoot of the Chowchilla River. There, amid bamboo and brush, they abandoned the bus. Soon after, the children and Ray were forced into 2 vans, its windows painted black, interiors muffled with soundproofing. For many harrowing hours, they were driven miles toward Livermore, California, in silence and dread. The ranch land blurred behind them. They arrived at the California Rock and Gravel Quarry, owned by the Woods family. There, the kidnappers had pre-prepared a grim holding place. A truck trailer buried underground, transformed into a bunker. The trailer was outfitted with a hatch, a ventilation system, a pit toilet, mattresses, minimal food, and water. Ray and the children were forced down a ladder, through the hatch, and into that cramped, suffocating space. The kidnappers wrote each victim's name and age on a jack-in-the-box wrapper, then resealed the hatch, covering it with sheet metal, weighing it down with 2 100-pound batteries, and burying it under tons of dirt. They became the buried, sealed in darkness, in silence. With courage and desperation, he and the older boys stacked mattresses to reach the hatch. Then 14-year-old Michael Marshall wedged a piece of wood free, shifted the metal and batteries, and began digging through the covering debris. Hands bloody, they clawed at the earth until they broke through, into light. They emerged near Shadow Cliffs Regional Park, disoriented but alive. Alameda County deputies and EMTs received them, checked vital signs, offered water, recorded statements. From there, they were reunited with their families in Chowchilla before dawn on July 17th. Back in Chowchilla, phone lines were jammed by frantic families and nationwide media attention. The kidnappers never made their ransom demand. Unable to contact authorities, they fell asleep. When they awoke, the news confirmed the hostages had escaped. Detectives turned to Frederick Newhall Woods, the quarry owner's son, with easy access and detailed knowledge of the site. 2 accomplices were soon identified, James and Richard Schoenfeld. All 3 had prior convictions for vehicle theft. Search warrants revealed chilling evidence on the Woods estate: journals, ransom notes, maps, false IDs, firearms, and even the same hamburger wrapper bearing the children's names. The crime was meticulously premeditated. July 23, 1976, Richard Schoenfeld surrendered. July 29th, James Schoenfeld was arrested in Menlo Park. Woods was caught in Vancouver. The trial was moved from Madera to Alameda County. In 1977, the trio pleaded guilty to 27 counts of kidnapping for ransom. Charges of robbery were dropped. A conviction for kidnapping with bodily harm carried a mandatory life sentence without parole. It was obtained, but later overturned on appeal, since actual injuries were minor. The 3 were sentenced to life with the possibility of parole. Ed Ray was enshrined in the hearts of Chowchilla residents. He received honors and remained humble. He passed away on May 17, 2012. The city renamed its largest park in his honor on what would have been his birthday, February 26, 2015, as Edward Ray Park. A granite monument now stands by the police department memorializing that day. What unfolded was more than a crime. It was a trauma that shaped lives for decades. Psychologist Lenore C. Turr followed 25 victims over 4 years. Every child exhibited post-traumatic symptoms: nightmares, fear of death, personality shifts, thought suppression, omens, pessimism, and repeated replays of the trauma. Brief treatment immediately after was insufficient. Years later, many still suffered. Later studies confirmed persistent trauma. Many survivors struggled with anxiety, panic, phobias, fear of the dark, cars, winds, even mice. Some developed substance abuse issues or self-destructive patterns. This case transformed childhood trauma studies. It helped usher in counseling protocols in schools. Over time, all 3 kidnappers were granted parole. Richard Schoenfeld, paroled June 2012. James Schoenfeld, August 2015. Fred Woods, after multiple denials, finally approved and released on August 17, 2022, despite resistance from survivors and state officials. Woods had even conducted business from prison and inherited a vast family trust. In 2016, survivors won a settlement from Woods's trust, but not enough to reconstruct a life, but sufficient for therapy. What began as a peaceful afternoon ended in buried terror, but it also revealed incredible resilience. 27 lives saved from entombment, a city forever changed, and a legacy that transformed our understanding of childhood trauma. Nearly 50 years later, Chowchilla still mourns, still remembers, and still honors the courage of the children, the quiet strength of Ed Ray, and what should never be forgotten. Thank you for venturing into the shadows with me. If you crave more unsettling tales from California's darker side, linger a little longer, like, subscribe, and let the next story find you.